Now, the question I have really fast for you here before we dive into this topic for today is, do you believe in free will? Do you think that we have free will? And I want you to ponder this question for a second here. And I want you to think at this angle also. Do you think we have 100% free will, or do you think we have free will, but it only goes so far? Okay, there's different angles to this. Okay. But anyway, tribe, welcome back. I'm Chad, by the way. Welcome back to Live Life Here in Terms. And we're going to dive into chapter 21, and it's on free will. And this is by Neville Goddard. It's out of The Power of Awareness. So this again is one of my favorite chapters. I have a few favorite chapters in this book, but this is one of them. And I believe this is a long chapter. So hang with me here, but this is fantastic on the concept of free will. Do we have it? And do we have 100%? Or do we only have free will, but only so far? Okay, so let's dive into this. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of the wish fulfilled and its realization? And we've covered this before earlier on in this book. So what Neville Goddard is saying really fast here is that, okay, once you know what you want, once you set an intention, once you set a desire, okay, why is it taking so long? Okay, what needs to be done? Do I need to do anything in order to make it happen or make it happen faster? So that's what Neville Goddard is saying here, and probably a question that he got a lot in his career. And we covered this a little bit, but now he comes back to this question in chapter 21 and he digs deeper on it. So let me reread that one more time. The question is often asked, what should be done between the assumption of my wish fulfilled and its realization? And Neville Goddard says, nothing. Nothing can be done. Okay. And this is why I love this chapter, baby. So listen to me. Okay. I'm going to reread it one more time, but this is so powerful because this is where a lot of us get flubbed up. A lot of us get into Howville. Okay. We look for the how. Okay. When you're looking for the how, either directly or indirectly, or you're trying to manipulate, you're looking for the how, but you think people don't know you're looking for the how. You think your subconscious mind don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You think God or the universe don't know you're trying to manipulate. You know what I mean? Listen, I'll say it one more time. What should be done between the assumption of your wish fulfilled and its realization? What should be done? And Neville Goddard says, absolutely nothing. You can do nothing. Nothing can be done. Okay, listen, let's continue on. It is a delusion that, other than assuming the wish fulfilled, you can do anything to aid the realization of your desire. You think that you can do something, you want to do something, but actually you can do nothing. Listen to this. Let me highlight this and change the color. This is so powerful. And this is where most of us get flubbed up. Okay. And Neville Goddard will kind of get into free will. He's leading up to it. So if you're kind of saying, like, where is this chapter going? I thought this chapter was on free will. Neville Goddard will kind of spin it that direction. He's just kind of laying the foundation of the chapter right now. But think of it, okay, when we think about manifesting, no matter what we want to call it, manifesting, success, law of attraction, law of assumption, identity work, being the most successful version of you, it doesn't really matter, okay? But the way we get flubbed up is Neville Goddard said it right here in the green I just highlighted. Okay, you think you can do something. You think you can do something to speed it up what you want. You think you can take all this action. Okay, you think you can speed up your desire. Okay, and you want to do something. Okay, you want to contribute. You want to figure it out. You want to figure out the how. But, Neville Goddard said, but actually you can do nothing. Listen, the illusion of free will to do is but ignorance of the law of assumption upon which all action is based. Now, this is how he's tying in free will, is right here. And I want to tell you right now, this chapter does go a little bit deep. It's not too deep where you don't understand it, but you kind of have this, you read something, you kind of have to sit and ponder it for a second. So listen, the illusion of free will to do is but ignorance of the law of assumption, meaning you don't really know the law of assumption. That's what he's saying. Okay, you think you know the law of assumption, but you really don't. You don't know it at a deeper level, and that's why it's not working for you. So that's what Neville Goddard is saying. This is what Neville Goddard says. Everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you happens. Isn't that true? Listen, everything happens automatically. All that befalls you, all that is done by you just happens. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. Listen, to understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth, means getting rid of all illusions about free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. Okay, he's put a lot in this paragraph right here. Okay, and let's kind of go through it one more time. And I'm sorry to do this to you, but I really want to make, I mean, this is a training, okay? This isn't just a little video and I go through it so fast. This is a training so you can understand what's going on, okay? Listen, if you really want to figure out how to live your dream life, you're going to take this stuff serious and you're going to try to figure out, and you're going to try to figure out where the holes are is in your thinking, because there's holes in your thinking right now. That's why you're not living your dream life. Okay, this is what Bob Proctor used to call, like, you know, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in your visible world. Okay, that's the bottom line. And if there's no proof that you really understand the law of assumption, then you get what I'm saying. Okay, the proof is in your visible world if you understand the law of assumption and you understand it really in depth how you think you understand it. If you're not really getting the results you want and only you know that, then you don't understand this stuff as well as you think you do. Okay, it's the same thing for me too. Okay, what I'm saying is if I'm struggling getting the stuff I want in my life, well, there's something missing, there's something I'm doing, and I got to figure out what's missing and what I'm doing to end up fixing it. Okay, so let's go back to this. And let's continue on, because I love this. I love kind of dissecting this stuff. And for you for you guys out there that love this stuff just like with me, this is going to be your meat and potatoes. Okay, listen. That all befalls you, all that is done by you happens. It just happens. Your assumptions, listen, your assumptions. Now, what's the law of assumption? Is what you believe to be true for you has to come to you. Whatever you believe to be true has to happen into your reality. And what Neville is saying is conscious or unconscious. Okay, meaning you're consciously aware of what you're doing or you're unconscious about it. You don't know what you're doing and things are just happening in your world. Okay. Listen, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. So I'll read it one more time to kind of have it make sense. Your assumptions, conscious or unconscious, direct all thought and action to their fulfillment. To understand the law of assumption, listen to this, to really understand the law of assumption, to be convinced of its truth means getting rid of the illusion of free will to act. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. Now, to Neville Goddard, this is really what free will means, is right here. Free will actually means freedom to select any idea you desire. That's your free will. Okay, you have the freedom to select anything you desire, anything you want. Okay, so let's move on from there because I don't want to kind of spoil this whole chapter for you. Okay. Listen, by assuming the idea already to be a fact, it is converted into reality. Beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with the concept assumed. I mean, holy hell. Okay. Did you get that? If I can highlight all this. Okay, I'm like putting X's across everything. Listen, by assuming the idea already be a fact, okay, whatever you assume to be true for you has to come into your reality. If you want your dream house and you assume it to be true, it has to come into your reality. Okay, but what Neville Goddard is saying is beyond that, free will ends. You have no free will. The only free will you have is to say, I want my dream house. And you believe it to be true. That's your only free will. Your only free will is on your desire, and that's it. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. Listen, beyond that, free will ends and everything happens in harmony with that concept assumed. Okay, once you assume it to be true, free will ends. It's going to happen in your life no matter if you want it to or not. You understand? It's literally like once you convince your subconscious mind that it's true, your subconscious mind is going to make it happen even if you don't want it anymore. You understand what Neville Goddard is trying to say? Listen, let's move on. I can of my own self do nothing, because I seek not my own will, but the will of my Father, which has sent me. John chapter 5, verse 19, and John chapter 5, verse 30. Okay, now let's highlight this because Neville Goddard is going to explain this verse here. This quotation, the Father obviously refers to God. And in an earlier chapter, God is defined as I am. God is the great I am. Okay. Since creation is finished, the Father is never in the position of saying, I will be. In other words, everything exists, and the infinite I am, consciousness, can speak only to the present tense. Okay. So Neville is kind of digging deep here. Okay. If God is the great I am, and that's one of the names of God is I am. I am that I am. And Neville Goddard says, since creation is finished, okay, listen to this. Okay, this is how deep consciousness goes. The law of assumption. What you assume to be true has to happen in your reality. But whatever you assume to be true, creation is finished. Okay, once you say it, creation is finished. And once you say it, and once you really believe it, creation is finished. It's done. It's within your consciousness. Okay, it's within you. It's not outside of you. Okay, so whatever you want, whatever your desire is, creation is finished. It's done. Okay, listen, if you want to be wealthy, you want to be rich, you want to be a multimillionaire, okay, once you say, I am a millionaire, I am the $15 million man, the creation is finished. It's done. It's in my consciousness. Okay, that's what Neville Goddard is saying. It's not outside of you. It's within you. Whatever you say, creation is finished. It's done. Listen, the Father is never in a position of saying, I will be. In other words, everything exists, and the infinite I am consciousness can speak only in present tense. Okay, this is what it really means by present moment is the most powerful. Okay, you're not the most powerful in the past, and you're not the most powerful in the future. And I don't know why I keep on doing this. I'm starting to do this in every video now. That's kind of how I'm sitting. I'm always hitting the mic because I'm being all erratic. Hey friends, just a quick little intermission here. We'll jump right back to the video. But if you're really trying to figure this stuff out, if you're really trying to live life on your terms, you really need to check out the description, because in the description is where I keep all the nuggets and all the resources. If you're new here, start right here. We got stuff like the power drops, which is totally free, by the way. We got the 30-day challenge. And of course, if you want to be part of the tribe, the link is here. And if you want to try to work with me, the link is right here as well. Like I said, my friends, if you really want to try to make this stuff happen, if you really want to live life on your terms, always keep up to date with the description, because that's where all the nuggets are. Other than that, let's get back to the video. Okay, let's move on. Here's another verse for you. Not my will be thine be done. Okay, now Neville is really good. I mean, this is the King James version. That's why it kind of sounds kind of weird and it's kind of really hard to read. Is not my will, but thine be done. Luke chapter 22, verse 42. Okay, now how Neville interprets this, more of an esoteric view, I will be, okay. I had a brain fart there for a second. because this is going to be like a comedy session. We're all wrapped into one. Because I want to make sure I was recording. I've done that before. I've literally filmed a 40-minute video, and at the very end, I happened to look and I didn't push record. so, so I laugh about it because it's like that video was probably like a viral video and I didn't push record. But anyway, let's continue. I will be is a confession that I am not. Okay, now he's going back up here, is kind of saying here that the Father, God, Spirit, the great I am, is never in a position of saying, I will be. Okay, that's why he's coming back down here, saying, I will be, he's connecting it, is a confession that I am not. The Father's will is always, I am. Listen to that. The Father's will is always, I am. That's why Neville is saying, the Father isn't saying, I will be, I will do that, maybe I'll do that for you. No, the Father's will is always, I am. This is why I am affirmations are so flippin' powerful. And even if you stay really aware of what you're doing, how you're talking to other people, your self-talk, when you're talking to yourself, especially when you're mad and upset, you have worry, doubt, and fear, and you just kind of just talking and rambling, and you're not really paying attention to what you're saying. And I'll catch people say, I am, and they attach a negative to it. You know, that means creation is finished. Once you attach something to I am, that's embedded in you. That's going to come into your life. Okay. So the Father's will is always I am. Until you realize that listen to this, he goes deeper. Until you realize that you are the Father, there is only one I am, and your infinite self is that I am. Your will is always I will be. Does that make sense? Now he's really grasping the concept is I and the Father is one. Okay, meaning when Jesus said this verse is I and the Father are one, meaning if the Father is inside you, Jesus is inside you, the Spirit is inside you, and it's all over Scripture, is that the Spirit is inside you. If the Spirit is inside you, that means you and God are one. God is not separate from you. Okay, so the great I am is inside you, and basically what Neville Goddard is saying is you are endowed with God's power. That's what he's saying. In the law of assumption, your consciousness of being is the Father's will. The mere wish without this consciousness is the my will. The great quotation, so little understood, is the perfect statement of the law of assumption. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. This sounds like a flippin' riddle. Let me take a drink of water. Okay, let you focus on this, okay? It's almost like Neville Goddard is writing in riddles. Like, what in the world is he talking about? Okay, sometimes when I read this, it sounds like a riddle. Okay, listen to this. It is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. So what is Neville Goddard saying here? He's talking about free will, and he's saying what free will is. The only free will you have is you have the freedom to choose your desire. You have freedom to choose what you want to be, what you want. Then at that point, you have no free will. Okay. Then he's saying it is impossible to do anything. Okay, if you're asking the question, what should I do? How can I speed this up? Neville Goddard is saying nothing. You can do nothing. Okay, you looking for the how? That's what's slowing it down. All you're doing is slowing it down when you're trying to force things to happen. Okay, listen, it is impossible to do anything. You must be in order to do. What does Neville Goddard mean by this? You must be in order to do, meaning you must be the person that has the desire that you want. If you want your dream house, you have your dream house right now, but you be that person who has your dream house. Okay, you become a better version of you. You carry yourself, you act like, you make decisions like the person who has your dream house. If you want to be a millionaire, you have it right now, and you have to become that person now, today, right now. You have to be that person right now who has millions of dollars, meaning you dress like them, you walk like them. You do the same things as what they would do. You make decisions like them. You think like them right now, today. It's being, okay? It's who you're being right now, today, in present moment that is shaping your reality. That's what Neville Goddard is saying, just in a different sense. If you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. Isn't this so true? If you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. What's concept of yourself? Here's your self-image. If you had a different self-image of yourself, everything would be different. Wouldn't that be true? If you literally just believed that you were rich, everything would be different in your reality. If you just believed it, if you truly believed it, everything would be different in your reality. Everything would shift, and everything would shift rather quickly in your 3D world. Okay. What you are. Okay, let me repeat that one more time. You are what you are. So everything is as it is. I'll read that one more time because it says it's pretty deep here. Listen, if you had a different concept of yourself, everything would be different. You are what you are, so everything is as it is. The events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. If you changed your concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered. This is how you bend reality. But thus altered, they form again a deterministic sequence starting from the moment of this changed concept. You are being with powers of intervention, which enable you, by a change of consciousness, to alter the course of observed events, in fact, to change your future. Deny the evidence of your senses and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, inasmuch as your assumption is creative and forms an atmosphere. Your assumption, if it be a noble one, increases your assurance and helps you to reach a higher level of being. Now, this isn't the end of the paragraph. This paragraph is a little bit longer on the Neville Goddard side. So what does Neville Goddard mean? Deny the evidence of your senses. He means your senses from your 3D world, your 5 senses, see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Okay, so that's what Neville Goddard means. Deny the evidence of your senses. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. Meaning that, okay, if you want your dream car, you're denying evidence of your senses, meaning that when you go out in your parking lot, your parking garage, your parking space, wherever you live, well, of course you don't see your dream car there. Okay, that's why he means deny the evidence of your senses. You're in your imagination. You're in the 4D world. So he says, deny the evidence of your senses and assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Inasmuch as your assumption is creative and forms an atmosphere, your assumption, if a noble one, increases your assurance and helps you to reach a higher level of being. If, on the other hand, your assumption be an unlovely one. Now, this is where Neville Goddard flips it to the laws of the universe. Remember, every law of the universe, including the law of assumption, has a polar opposite. So Neville Goddard states this, and he finally states this because I've been talking about it during this whole book, and finally Neville Goddard brings it up in chapter 21. He says, if, on the other hand, your assumption, what you believe to be true for you, is an unlovely one, it's a negative one, it hinders you and makes your downward way swifter. Just as the lovely assumptions create a harmonious atmosphere, so the hard and bitter feelings create a hard and bitter atmosphere. It's basically what Neville Goddard is saying is like attracts like. It doesn't matter. Your subconscious mind don't care about you. This is why I always tell you. Your subconscious mind don't care because it just gives you what you give it. If you give it positive and good things, well, positive and good things has to come back to you. But the opposite is true too. If you give it negative and bad things, well, negative and bad things come back to you. Okay, it's like you reap what you sow. No matter how many phrases I can give you. Listen, whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, of good report, think on these things. This is Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. This means to make your assumptions the highest, noblest, happiest concepts. There is no better time to start than now. The present moment is always the most opportune in which to eliminate all unlovely assumptions and to concentrate only on the good. This is what Neville Goddard is saying. You concentrate only on the good things of your life. You focus, you concentrate, you talk about only things that are good, only things that you want in your life, only things that you desire. Because only things you want in your life, only things you desire are going to be good. Okay, and this is taken out of Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 in the Bible. Listen, whatsoever things are pure, just, lovely, of good report, think only on these things. Listen, you win by assumption what you can never win by force. Remember, force negates. Listen to this again. You win by assumption what you can never win by force. Whatever you assume to be true for you has to happen to you. You don't force it to happen, baby. Listen, an assumption is a certain motion of consciousness. This motion, like all motion, exercises an influence on the surrounding substance, causing it to take the shape of, echo, and reflect the assumption. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook. Listen right here. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook, merely a change in arrangement of the same mind, substance, which is consciousness. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of yourself.
Really quick here, friends. Do you want a challenge that's going to make every dream of yours come true?
You see, my friends, the issue is when you start trying to live life on your terms, you're doing everything right. See, that's the problem. That's how you feel. You're trying your hardest, but nothing is changing. Now, in the challenge, there's no fluff, there's no hype. It's just real transformation delivered daily. We are going to the core. We are going to the root cause why things are not working for you. All you got to do is go to the description, click see more. Everything will pop up and you will see the 30-day breakthrough challenge. Click the link and it will take you right over to that. And he's kind of explaining the same thing over again, but each time he's kind of getting deeper and deeper and more of an esoteric view of the real meaning of the law of assumption. Okay. Listen, I'll read it one more time in green. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of yourself. Again, what's the concept of yourself? That's your self-image. That's how you view yourself. Okay. Are you confident? Are you jealous? Okay, do you think you're rich or do you think you're poor? Do you think you live in scarcity? Do you think life just happens to you? Okay, do you think, well, life just gave me this, God just gave me this deck of cards and I just got to deal with it. That's the life he gave me. Okay, a lot of people have that view of life. Okay, that's the concept of yourself. That's the self-image of yourself. And what Neville is saying, change that self-image and your life has to mirror that. Okay. If you have a self-image of scarcity, poverty, life is hard, well, all you got to do is change that self-image that you're rich and wealthy, you're confident, life is abundant, and your life has to mirror that. Okay, that's what Neville Goddard is saying. Listen, outer change, becoming part of organizations, political bodies, religious bodies is not enough. The cause goes deeper. The essential change must take place in yourself. Let me change this over to yellow. This is a deep paragraph here. Listen, the essential change must take place in yourself. Okay, Okay, if you want to change your life, you don't seek outer, everything is within you. The essential change must take place in yourself, in your own concept of yourself, in your own self image. You must assume that you are what you want to be and continue therein, for the reality of your assumption has its being in complete independence of objective fact and will clothe itself in flesh if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you know that assumptions, if persisted in, harden into facts, then events which seem to be uninitiated, mere accidents will be mere accidents will be understood by you to be the logical and inevitable effects of your assumption. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions, but no power to determine conditions and events. This is where he ties it back to, and I think this is why this chapter is kind of long, because when Neville Goddard talks about free will, he basically went back into explaining what the law of assumption is, and then he's tying it back to free will. So he introduced free will. He got off on a tangent on what the law of assumption is again. He went deeper with it. Then he's going back to free will because he's tying it back to free will. Okay, so listen to this again. Sorry about that. My mind got unfocused because my phone was going off here, so I thought somebody was calling me because everybody went to the hospital today, so I'm kind of home alone, holding down the fort and taking care of the dogs. But anyway, let's get back to this. The important thing to bear in mind is that you have infinite free will in choosing your assumptions. That's where free will is. You have infinite free will to choose your assumptions. What are your assumptions? Is your desires, what you want to have, who you want to be. That's your assumptions. You have infinite free will to choose your assumptions. Okay. But what Neville Goddard says, listen, but no power to determine conditions and events. So once you have an assumption, and what's the assumption? What you believe to be true for you has to come into your reality. So once you hold an assumption, at that point free will stops, because Neville says at that point you have no power. Listen, no power, no choosing, no free will to determine conditions and events of that assumption. Listen to this again. You can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of a creation you will experience. I put this in yellow to kind of finish up this paragraph, and that's the end of the chapter. Listen, you can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. So what Neville Goddard is really saying to kind of wrap up this chapter is that kind of what I've been kind of saying the whole time within this chapter a little bit, is that you can create nothing. You can force nothing. Okay, no matter how much you look for the how, remember, that's why I've always say force negates. Once you go into howville, you're trying to figure it out, you're looking for it. The reason why you go into the how, because you're trying to figure out, you're kind of thinking, what can I do? Can I speed this up? Is there something I need to do? And this is what Neville Goddard said in the beginning of the chapter, is this is what most people falter into, because you want to do something. You want to help yourself because you really want it. You really want your assumption. You really want your desire. So you've been taught to, like, I can speed it up. Then when you're an entrepreneur, it makes it a mess for you because you have all these entrepreneurs, all these multimillionaires telling you, take action, take action, take action. You got to force things into existence. Now you get into this work, and Neville Goddard is saying, you can't force nothing into existence, baby. Okay, only thing you have free will, only thing you can do is state what you want, state your assumption, state your desire. And once you state that, good or bad, listen, your desire assumptions, good or bad, has to come into your reality, and you can't stop it. Okay, that's where free will stops. And that's what he's saying. Listen, you can create nothing, but your assumption determines what portion of creation you will experience. Okay, it's the same thing. If my assumption is life is good, life is great, that's my free will. is to focus on that. But what comes to me is out of my free will. But what comes to me is by law is good things come to me, but I can't stop it. Okay. But it's the same thing on the flip side. If I flip the coin, okay, if I start focusing on my assumption is I can't do this. Okay. My assumption is that's the deck of cards. This is my life. Okay. That's my assumption. But I can't stop what's going to come in. And what's going to come in is going to be a self-reflection of my assumption. The self-reflection of, I got dealt a bad deck of cards. I just got to live with it. Okay. And what Neville Goddard is saying, you can't stop it. It's going to come into you. Okay. This is why some people who really understand the law of assumption will say, like whatever your assumption is, if let's say you want to be a millionaire, then down the road, you're like, oh, okay, I don't want this no more. If you've influenced your subconscious mind, if you really dug deep into your assumption and you believed it to be true for you, you can't stop it from happening. Even if you don't want it no more, you can't stop it from happening. It's still going to happen in your life. Okay, but again, it's a double-edged sword because laws of the universe have polar opposites. If there's a right, there has to be a left. There's an up, there has to be a down. There's a positive, has to be a negative. There's a good, there has to be a bad. You understand? So that's why kind of we experience bad things in our life. We experience negative things because it was just a past assumption that we thought about in the past that we accepted as true for us that we are now just seeing or mirroring in our visible world. Okay. That's what Neville Goddard is saying. And that's why he's kind of weaving in our free will. And that's why I've asked you in the beginning, what do you think about free will? And as we sum up this video, I'd like you to comment. If you lasted this long, I'd love you to comment on this, because I'm sure this brings up a lot of stuff on free will. Some people believe we don't have free will at all. Some people believe we have free will 100%. Okay, now Neville Goddard says, yes, we have free will, but we only have free will on our assumptions, what we want, what we desire. That's the only free will we have. But that's where it ends. Once we accept that assumption has to mirror itself in our reality. That the gap right there is we have no free will. We can't stop it from happening in our life. Listen, the only way we can stop it, and I will say this, there is a disclaimer here. The only way we're going to stop it is to change our assumption. You understand? The only way you can stop negative things from happening in your life over and over and over and over, the only way you can stop it, and this is why Neville Goddard kept on coming back in the chapter, is you change the concept of yourself. You change your assumption. You change what you want. That's how you change reality. That's how you bend reality. That's how you shift it. That's why he's saying that's free will that you have. If you don't like what's going on in your life, you don't like the similar things always coming in, is you change your assumption. That's your free will. Because the good news is once you change your assumption, it has to reflect in your life. It has to come visible in your life, my friends. Okay. Does that make sense? But anyway, comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We can chat this up in the comments if you like. If you have a question on this, comment as well. And remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.